For Christianity, which claims to be a world religion, and for the Christians who claim to have that kind of value system, the question is to what extent they can open their minds and their denominations and be flexible. There will come a time when God will proclaim this to every religion, denomination, and the believers at the forefront of the last days. The time will surely come. When we observe Christianity today, they are tied down to certain forms and concepts, just as the Catholic Church was bound by certain rituals and forms. She cannot stand in front of God if she is entrenched in such rituals and forms. The person of character who subjugates to formality and ritual may stand in front of God, but the one who is subjugated by those things cannot. That is why Luther insisted that we should abolish formality and the unnecessary concepts and return to God by faith alone, centering on the Bible. Those who lean on the words, those who are subjugated by the words, those who are restricted by the word, and those who move by the word cannot become God's children. Jesus was the one who could subjugate the word, and those who could give the word. Those who can stand in his place can become God's children. God is demanding such a people. For what are we all, regardless of being Protestant or Catholic? We need the words of the Bible, but we also need the substantiation of the word, which is the core. That means we need the person Jesus. We should long for that one person. Words may pass us by, but the one thing which should not pass us by is the subject of the word. What then is the final purpose of Christianity? It is not the completion of the Bible. It is not the completion of the words. It is the one substantiation that passed through the word and that can control the word. The final purpose is the Lord of the Second Advent. That is the standard of hope of Christianity. Moreover, the substantiation is the standard of hope not only for Christianity, but also for Buddhism, Confucianism, or any other religion. The perspective of that one substantiation might have been different, but the content they testified to and introduced was the one and the same. This is evident by the standard of character that must be met for that one substantiation, regardless of the kind of religion or denomination. Jesus taught, "I am the bridegroom and you are my bride," to teach the ignorant people these things. The bridegroom and bride which Jesus talked about are the relationships that transcend the mundane concept of a loving relationship between a man and a woman. You should understand that history moves toward a new world through the new door, only from the position where the direction of the conscience and the action of the heart may move toward God. The work of God will be completed only if the openness is progressed to that extent. In the process of human history, the revolution does not exist in the artistic matter. However, Jesus asserted 2,000 years ago that he who loves parents or children more than me is not worthy of me. It is an amazing statement. Jesus said, "Love him more than anyone." What is that content? That content was not found, for Jesus was killed. Therefore, we should realize that when we desire to find that content, that is the time of our hope and the time of the second coming. The words were given, but the content or the ideology which can connect with the heart of those words did not appear. When that appears, it will be the day of world peace. The center of our mind is our conscience. However, God cannot subjugate the person with the conscience. God cannot command you to go here or go there, even if you are a good person of conscience. However, if you make a artistic, loving relationship with God, then he can command you without restriction. Humankind did not lose the conscience by the fall. Not being able to make the artistic, loving relationship with God was the fall. Therefore, we must go beyond our conscience and make the artistic, loving relationship with God. Only then will God's aching pain and resentment disappear and the restorational dispensation end. Only by emergence of that standard can humanity represent God. Only when that ideology, worldview, and teaching of religion are practiced can God move freely upon the realm of all things. We, therefore, must drive out the denominational conflict in and between religions. There were numerous religions before the advent of the Unification Church. We must peel off the denominational mask and eliminate the formal church. God is longing for the family church and the individual church. God is longing to move about freely, even to the realm of all things, by them becoming the temple of goodness and the holy of holies. God is hoping for that kind of garden. The fall was the loss of the relationship that was created out of the unity between the human heart and God's heart. Therefore, trying to reestablish that relationship is God's restorational dispensation and the standard of human hope. For that reason, Jesus, who came as the representative of that dispensation and that hope, called himself the bridegroom and us the bride. What should we do to cross over to that state? We must have the direct experience of emotion, shock, admiration, and the heart of yearning centering on God that transcends that of the bridegroom and bride. Without that, we cannot go forward. What is God about to show to humanity whom he liberated and opened thus far? History until now was filled with the word human love. God's dispensation of restoration is the breaking of that and refilling that space with the word called God's love. Is there anyone who experienced God's love? If there are people among you who experienced God's love in its mysterious state, you would have felt that loving feeling is the comprehensive and unifying emotion of the whole existential world. Human love is not such a love. However, at that moment, when you feel God's love, you can feel that comprehensive and unifying emotion of the whole existential world. God's love holds such value. Therefore, the state of God's love can be described as the state where the individual and the whole are completely connected. The spiritual world is the supernatural world of recognition based upon such a love. Therefore, that world is not limited by time and space. Just as all things admire the sunlight and move according to the sun, all people will bow their heads if someone appears who possesses the foundation of God's heart and love, which the human original nature desires. That time must surely come. Jesus came to present such conditions. He, however, could not bring out the standard of such a artistic and loving relationship because he was killed. This is the lamentation of God and the aching pain and resentment of God for 6,000 years and of Jesus for 2,000 years. We should realize that God persevered through the 6,000 years of dispensational history to see the day when his pain and resentment are comforted and liberated.